Welcome to another article critique, and this time it is about resource generation activities in schools. And the title of this article is The Normalization of School Fundraising in Ontario. This is published in the Journal of Educational Administration and Policy in 2016. And what's unique in this study is this is our argumentative discourse analysis. So it is in the backdrop that fundraising is becoming common in schools, but objections are coming from parents, educators, and other citizens because, in their perception, it perpetuates inequities between schools and communities. The point is funds raised for school purposes coming from private sectors should not be used to replace public funding for education for them. And it should not be used to support items funded through the allocated budget of the school board. It also caters the neoliberal context. And when we talk about neoliberalism, it is the favoring of policies that promote free market capitalism, deregulation, and reduction in government spending. Also, fundraising is one means of privatization. Private funds augment public funding within and of schools. Funds are raised in a range of ways, including charging user fees, selling products, hosting special events, soliciting private donations, making exclusive marketing agreements, securing grants, selling advertising space, renting space, selling online course materials, providing consulting services, and charging tuition to students. Many schools use these funds to purchase materials and provide activities to enrich the curriculum and engage students. These goods and activities include school supplies, transportation, clubs, books, technology, schoolyard revitalization, sport equipment, guest speakers, professional performances, athletic and academic programs, field trips, musical instruments, and other extracurricular activities that can be augmented or addressed by the funds raised through these initiatives. So the method used here is the argumentative discursive analysis. It views policies and politics as struggles for discursive dominance, wherein actors attempts to persuade others to support their definition of the social world, creating hegemonic coalition dominating the discursive space. This is based on the argumentative discursive theory by Hager in 1993. So here we are trying to create coalitions to identify them in the data sets composed of 159 texts produced within the past 20 years from 1996 to 2016 when the study was published. So these datasets or texts include media articles, parliamentary debates, political documents, government documents, and research reports. So it focuses on the text types and the documents that talk about fundraising and the issues herewith. So as we analyze the different text types, two coalitions emerged. These are the repetitive or the repeating themes. So we have the Fund the Basics Coalition, wherein the Fund the Basics Coalition has consistently argued that government funding should ensure equal opportunity for success for all students in public schools with or without fundraising. And the other coalition that emerged to be the more dominant one is the fundraising is necessary and desirable coalition. So this coalition expresses the dominance of the discourse in support of fundraising, which is most clearly evident through the intensification and normalization of the practice. So the debate is heating up when there were also government dramatic cuts to education funding, while promising that these cuts would not affect the classroom, but fundraising was normalized in order to cover and defray some of the expenses. The institutionalization of fundraising is also evident in the creation of board and provincial government policies related to fundraising since 1996. For example, in 2001, the school board developed a formal fundraising policy and created the Central Equity Fund designed to enable individuals and schools that raise significant funds to contribute some of them to schools less able to raise money. So the dominant coalition and finding based on the fundraising is necessary and desirable coalition is fundraising can effectively address the gaps or deficiencies in government funding. So as we examine this article, it has also been mentioned that the limitation of the study is we cannot only focus on the text types, on data sets and published materials focusing on fundraising because we also have to analyze the policy. We have to understand the policy. And in my reflection, we really have to review and be very familiar with the policy in order to implement it well and to know what are the do's and don'ts when it comes to fundraising and other income or resource generating initiatives. We can also challenge the view of an argumentative discourse analysis, viewing that it is the policy that is causing the struggles because it is not a strong enough view to overcome neoliberalism. So, by challenging school fundraising, by defining the policy as the problem of equity is not strong enough to overcome neoliberalism's pressure on parents because there's already the pressure for parents that they are good and responsible in their performance of responsibility as parents or in their parenthood if they participate in fundraising. So it will not overcome that kind of pressure on parents to provide their children with educational advantages. A trend towards privatization of public education, neoconservative interest in reduced government spending, which is another facet that is promoting the neoliberal context. In my reflection, it shows the importance of open communication. What are really the aims or the agenda or the purpose of the fundraising? To what projects or developmental plans are we going to use the funds raised by the parents and other contributing departments and agencies? So everyone should be able to understand and be clear about what the fundraising really is about and what will be its role in the following months or period in the school. Also, the article may consider that the schools, especially the public schools, may take an entrepreneurial stance. Based on this study published in the Journal of Education, there are serious challenges surrounding school fees, such as bad debt and fee exemptions. And this necessitates the government or the school board to find other sources of revenue. This significant value provides public schools globally with guidelines on how to manage fundraising initiatives in the absence of adequate state funding as admitted. And lastly, I realized the importance and the big benefits and advantages of exploring more other forms of resource generation activities, including but not limited to fundraising, in order to cover the other things, aspects, and facets in the teaching and learning that cannot be instantly addressed by the current cash or budget in hand. So, to conclude, this article and the critique proves that policy review and analysis, open communication as the school is a social organization, and the exploration and effective management of resource generating activities are tantamount in raising the appropriate funds that also aim not to just defray the administrative responsibilities, but also to promote effective teaching and learning. These have been our references. Thank you so much and have a great day to all.